Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On this occasion, I will present our article entitled Traces of Spices in Indonesian Literary Texts. Spices have actually been written in many Indonesian literary texts, both as short stories, novels, poems, and dramas. The short story entitled Perempuan Pala, the novel entitled Mirah dari Banda, in the form of poetry such as the Jembatan Rempah-Rempah, Berlayarlah ke Tidore, a form of drama, for example, Ketika Cengkeh Berbunga. The study of literary criticism in Indonesian literary texts with the subject of spices has also been widely carried out with the publication of a book entitled Sastra Rempah. Spices, which grow and live in Indonesia, have historically traveled thousands of kilometers to reach the people who need spices, such as the nation in Europe since before Christ, which became known as the Spice Road. But the word community is more familiar with the Silk Road than the Spice Road, even though the Spice Road has an influence on the life in Indonesia and the world today. Spices have been traded for centuries. This trade took the route from South Asia and the Middle East and Europe, which was carried out by Arab and Chinese traders. The spices of the Indonesian archipelago are increasingly known to the world. At least in the 7th century AD, shipping and trade from East Asia, South Asia, and West Asia to the archipelago hunted for high-value spices such as clove, nutmeg, sandalwood, pepper, agarwood, champor, and other spice products. The exploration of shipping from various parts of the world in search of spices creates the Spice Road, which made the archipelago to axis of the global economy. The exploration of spices has sparked important scientific discoveries, from the cartographic itinerary by Jan Huygens van Rietschoten to the botanical herbarium Ammonisis by Rumpius. But behind that, spices trigger the practice of exploration of nature. The Banda Islands, which are the origin of the nutmeg spice, gave birth to a sad story in the poem of Ibrahim Gibra and Afrizal Malna. It was Vasco da Gama who set sail for spice. These Portuguese became the first Europeans to arrive in the Maluku Islands, which later colonized the archipelago. They not only targeted spices such as nutmeg and cloves that showed them the Europe after the conquered Malacca, but they also wanted to dominate, colonize the spice rich, and they also brought a lot of spices from east to west from the archipelago voraces to the west. The sociocultural conditions behind the birth of this poem are the dark history of Western colonialism in the archipelago, especially in Ternate and Tidore, which European nations fought over become of spices. Although written in soft language, the message of the poem Sail to Tidore still hurts the people of Tidore. Afrizal Malna is a poet who is quite a genius in the ranks of modern Indonesian writers. He has received various awards for his poetry. He has able to spread the virus to other writers contemporaries and after him, although his poems were considered difficult to understand. In the 1990s, The literary public in Indonesia introduced the term Afrizalian to show the influence of the poetic style which gave birth to many followers. Afrizal Mara is a maker for quality literary works. He has written literary works in the form of poetry and short stories, essays, and novels. But what stands out the most about him is the way he writes essay and poetry. The typography of Afrizal poetry is unique, with the appearance of prose, flat left and red margin. The diction choice by Afrizal is one with unique poetic function. Such nuances and can be found when reading his last book collection of poems, Museum of Destroying Document. This object depicts a world of urban society. He also wrote about the spices that the West fought over to the point of shedding blood. In the line of the Afrizal poetry, there is a sentence that this woman portrays with a red rose necklace is the place where the Sultan of Ternate Cairo was imprisoned. What it's meant by the bridge from dark to the fortress of women wearing red roses is the Castella Fort in the Sultanate of Ternate, which has an extraordinary story. This fort serves of Portuguese defense in the Ternate region. You can guess how the women of Ternate suffered, whose territory was controlled by the invaders. With Portuguese cunning, the Sultan of Ternate Cairo was invited to this fort, which turned out to be only to the kill on the orders of Diego Lopez de Mesquita. Although it seems that the origin of the word is cute, Afrizal Malna poem entitled The Spice Spirit has a unique characteristic, with a beginning of the sentence in alphabetical order. For example, by asking where the title Spice Bridge explicitly 5 bridges that connect to poet's ideas in this poem with social reality that exists in society. Conclusion. Traces of spices in Indonesian literary texts, especially in the poetry of Ibrahim Gibra and Afrizal Malna, prove that writers have sensitively to the suffering of their people related to the exploration of spices by Western nations in Indonesia. The way the writer expresses his empathy for the suffering is by mentioning the names of spices and the names of space explorers from the West in his poetry, such as Vasco da Gama, Christopher Columbus, Fernando Magellan, Juan Sebastian Elcano, Diego Lopez de Mesquita. Among the many types of spices, there are 2 that are very popular, namely nutmeg and cloves, that both of which inspired writers to create the title of the work, namely Woman and Nutmeg and When Cloves Flower. The structure of Gibra's poetry has a narrative structure, while the structure of Afrizal Malna poetry resembles prose with neat right and left margin. The content of the poem tells about the suffering of the colonized people who were deprived of their spices. Thank you.